Yo ho ho! What's going on, guys? Welcome to the One Punch Man Top 20 Strongest Dragons ranking. Today, as you already know, we're gonna get the list done. Previously, we had a top 20 demons rankings list, so check out that video below. We also did an amazing job with the tournaments that we do in order to decide some of these rankings. We get together for about 3 to 4 hours. The cast of the One Punch Man podcast, there's a link in the description for that one as well. We decide who would beat who would face what, and how they would fare against these different matchups. And then those are the things that help us decide the outcomes of these ranking lists. Please also check out our Patreon. It's new. We're trying to upgrade our program and how we do things here on the Grimm Reaper channel, and we could use your support to move forward. Before we begin, please note the following. We didn't include executives who we've seen nothing from, as this video is strictly manga only, as I don't read the webcomic. Some outside info such as like data book information and audiobooks were referenced, but only to a very small degree. Starting off the list in the 20th position is Z City's giant meteor. Its big brother came long ago to take on the dinosaurs. I guess the family has a grudge, and it's starting off with Z City. The meteor adjusted its trajectory and posed an immediate dragon level threat. Evacuation was futile, as it was immediately threatening all of Z City. But unfortunately, this happens to be Cape Baldy's residence. The gigantic rock was able to withstand Bullfoy's catastrophic weapons test, along with a full-power Genos weapons display. But even Dr. Kuseno's greatest work could do nothing to break it apart. Just like several other instances on this list, taking multiple assaults from S-level individuals is definitely a feat. Even after Cape Baldy came in to one punch to the center of the meteor, it was still able to devastate the city, leaving large portions in ruins, although there was no reported loss of life. Because the meteor isn't sentient, and would technically be defeated when making landfall, it's been placed 20th on the list. But don't let that fool you. Most S-class heroes wouldn't survive being caught in this landing radius, including some of the top 5 on this very list. 19th on the list is a dark matter Thieves ship. One of our biggest curiosities as human beings is the existence of extraterrestrials. Are we alone in the universe? My heart dropped when one sensei decided to answer this question for us, casting a shadow as far as the eye could see. In an instant, the entirety of City A was destroyed. Arguably the greatest panel of One Punch Man ever drawn included this threat in Saitama himself. Even though its firepower is more than enough reason to join this list, its durability may overshadow even that. Not only was it able to take a redirected assault from its own potent weapons, and an awful lot of large debris when the powerful Esper Tatsumaki joined the battle, but it also maintained its working status while hosting the catastrophic battle of Saitama and Boros, including an unarmored assault that blasted Saitama to the ship's exterior, and even the meteoric burst released, and even managed to send Saitama to the moon. This titan of space travel required Saitama's lunar jump and landing, which created a continental-sized crater on the moon to send it listing to the ground. And even after this inconceivable assault, its core only ruptured when Boros and Saitama both let off planetary attacks in the Planet Buster Roaring Cannon vs. Super Moves Serious Punch Clash. All of these feats should put the ship top 5 on the list, but because it requires a sentient crew to govern its functions, it has been placed here accordingly. I don't really know why the Balcazar hype train doesn't exist. Although most of the dragons we've seen have shown some crazy attributes, Balcazar's ability boost in addition with his martial arts should be ideal. I know we've all talked about what if Shiryu ate a monster cell, and how he'd be a dragon easy. This is literally what happened. I know Shiryu had the main focus, better design, and was clearly stronger, but let's put some respect on Balcazar's Dark Hell Assassination Fist. His Shoulda Straight Punch and Devil May Cry Low Kick look like they might smack some entries on this list. We haven't seen much from the Slithery Neon, who's ranked 17th here, but if his signature attack, Feline Retribution, is an indicator of his focus capability, then we can at least expect a base dragon representation. Although demon monsters like Mosquito Girl did slice entire buildings in half while filled with blood. If I'm to believe the hype around the name that is Neon, then his fight needs to show up soon. As of this recording, Orochi has just been defeated by Saitama, so I'm expecting Neon and others to get their shine. Esper seemed pretty tough in this universe, so to hear that Garugan was one of Boros' top 3 battle commanders added a hint of intimidation to the room. Saitama downplayed his Esper abilities, saying he was as simple as just throwing rocks, right before tossing a rock through his head. Besides his telekinetic rock barrage, which was indeed like a tornado or debris, he lacks other offensive abilities as far as we've seen. This is indeed due to his encountering of Saitama, so we won't hold it against him. Giro is incredibly cunning and intelligent. In tandem with her Esper abilities, she can be a difficult opponent. Though the individuals she's encountered have proven themselves against her, she's still been able to display a large array of abilities that can deal with most enemies we've seen so far. From compressing opponents, force fields, super gravity waves, to lightning eyeballs. Giro has many tricks up her sleeve, and all she's revealed is a puppet. Let's see how far the brain of the association can get without the muscle. Don't let anyone ever tell you that 4 S-class heroes in an extended fight isn't great. Melzargard was able to take on Atomic, whose assaults encompass all of Melzargard's body. Bang, whose water stream rock smashing fist was most efficient in deflecting Melzargard's attacks. Puri, who was able to catch and tank several head-on Melzargard hits without falling. And Metalbat, a living Hulk blessed with fighting spirit. Having to deal with these high offensive potentials is nothing but a high dragon indication. Unfortunately, his glaring marble storage technique becomes too prominent once figured out. A prime target that heroes manage to exploit without delay. The fact that it took such an extended amount of time to figure out the technique, though, does make an argument for a higher position on this list. Not much is known about Glory Boss, besides that he's the strongest that Boros had, I guess. Yeah, that's it. In our 11th and 12th spots, I had to separate the duo. I don't believe that one is clearly stronger than the other, but these two seem to be linked very closely, as even their transformation showed a lot of similarities. They also seem to have an absurd amount of control, as stated that any monster with enough discipline can maintain their human form, and we haven't seen many monsters like that. Even the dragon like Balcazar only showed a single form. The speed these two displayed in contrast to Flashy Flash was impressive. One of the greatest pieces of art was the battle that they had, flying across a cavern at crazy speeds, avoiding debris that was still flying from their previous movements. Not to mention that they were talking shit about Flashy, and then even had some speed to back it up. This fight was indeed top 15 so far, and I enjoyed seeing Flashy Flash do that thing to them. Cracking the top 10, we have Carnage Camuto. This rampaging intellectual is powerful and also a tank. He managed to take several of Geno's heat cannons straight to the face, and even blew one back using his breath alone, all in base form. In his Carnage mode, he managed to slam and blitz Saitama once or twice, though he was literally showing almost no effort, maybe even less than usual. Though his durability was only tested against Geno's, we can confidently assume that a lot of firepower and speed is needed to handle this guy. He could honestly probably survive one of Beaufort's weapons tests in his Carnage mode, which is known to last almost an entire week. The House of Evolution has produced some crazy stuff, and apparently this dragon is just a human experiment failure. This guy was crazy early. I love how in this story, we don't shy away from showing the strong guys early. Vaccine Man, taking the 9th spot, was blowing away portions of the city with ease, and spamming it as well. His energy orbs were more destructive than some of Genos' current attacks. I'm not overestimating when I say some heroes would have a problem with this guy right now. He also has flight, along with abnormal growth from a power-up, although we literally have no information indicating his durability or toughness. I don't think it would be crazy to assume that Darkshine will require more than a single punch to handle this guy. Comparing him to Kabuto, they're very similar, and exchange superiority in one or two categories. I wouldn't bat an eye if someone were to switch the rankings of Carnage and Vaccine, but his orbs, like I mentioned, can deal with a lot of heroes, and even some current monsters. I wish King hadn't beaten him. There is no love lost with this entry, the monster of his art, and the next candidate for Monster King. Number 8, Garo. To mention that the mastermind of his arc is slobbering over him is an understatement. The savior of the Monster Association, now that Orochi has fallen. This guy has almost fought everyone, and he just keeps going. Garo on his own has made me enjoy this arc greatly. Watchdog Man, Silverfang, Genos, King, Tank Top Master, Giro, Overgrown Rover, Orochi, Bug God, Bomb. Any person who encounters all these names by no means should still be alive. But Garo has not only survived, but thrived in consequence of these encounters. Not to mention his indomitable durability and ingenious ability to decipher opponents' fighting styles mid-battle. But he's also managed to learn abilities and attacks from these high-level individuals and integrate them into his own fighting style. Fighting Spirit, Watchdog Run, Give Me Paw, Sit, Tank Top Tackle, Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist, Whirlwind Iron Cutting Fist, and many more. This guy is a true monster. We used to argue Garo versus Shiryu at a certain point, but ever since he became a dragon, it's not even funny anymore. Garo alone has the potential to be number 1 on this list. The Juggernaut himself is 7th on this list. Just by emerging, he's devastating portions of the city equivalent to Vaccine Man's orbs. His legs, while crawling, literally level skyscrapers and city blocks. I don't think there's a shelter outside of the association that can take on a rampaging Elder Centipede. Not to mention his powerful carapace, which seems to be his main attribute. It tanked an entire frontal assault from an upgraded dragon level Genos without flinching, and even managed an effective counterattack against Bang, Bomb, and Genos together. People like to underestimate the fact that some of these dragons require multiple high-level S-Class, and I won't. Elder Centipede required the King Edge to be brought down, and previously survived an encounter with the hero Blast. I wonder how many times he could shed his carapace if Saitama hadn't shown up. The next guy has upset the entire fan base. It's not a coincidence that Saitama has encountered a lot of guys on this list, but this one truly hurt the fan base. Our hopes and dreams of seeing a full battle with Goketsu were flushed down the toilet because of Cake Baldy, once again. This guy was making Balcazar shit himself. Through dialogue, he even made it seem like multiple S-Class heroes wouldn't be enough. And I, for one, 100% believe it as. I could definitely see him taking on Flashy Flash, Bang, Genos, Metal Bat, and Tank Top Master all at the same time, and maybe even winning if it really came down to it. Koketsu is the definition of indomitable, and he's what I consider an unquestionable high dragon. Though I do believe Goketsu should beat Bang in a one-on-one, I wonder which martial art technique is stronger. Marugori left a crater as big and as deep as himself in the middle of a city from a single barrage. This alone was enough to put him over the devastating monster known as Goketsu. We don't have much information on his defenses and other feats. King made sure to take him out in one punch, but even with that, he still didn't explode like most of the monsters do, such as Carter's Kabuto. In the tournament, we juggled the idea that an individual as agile and as destructive as Genos could probably take him on, and the opinions were split with no consensus. Marugori doesn't seem to be limited by his size either, like how some fictional depictions attempt to portray gianthood. His speed and agility, I dare say, look just like Genos' signature machine gun blows. This guy could have literally destroyed a lot if King didn't arrive, but I'm not sure if Bofoi's weapon test couldn't have handled him. Phoenix Man is crazy. Starting in his Dopey Bird form, Phoenix continuously revives with every death. It took the superior genius of Child Emperor and the outside info of Ogunma to figure out the weakness of Phoenix Man. Remove the suit. The guy took on 100 floor busting giant fist strike, got cut to smithereens by Child Emperor's knives, and managed to disable the amazingly effective Brave Giant. He's an all-around beast with high-speed flight, heated talons strong enough to pierce the Brave Giant's armor, homing projectiles strong enough to push Brave Giant back across an entire room. His biggest feat being absorbing the amazing Millennium Emperor Nova head-on and surviving. With the possibility of 4 to 5 resurrections not being implausible, Phoenix Man becomes a problem for literally every single opponent possible. This next guy being ranked 3 is just a formality. He's actually the #1 ranked dragon in the tournament. But because our next 2 entries technically are in this category, I made room accordingly. Overgrown Rover is the complete definition of a high dragon. He doesn't even have one most notable attribute like Elder Centipede or Phoenix Man. His destructive ability is just as prominent as his durability. Rover tanked without exploding one of Saitama's dramatic regular punches. The art showed it as if he had shattered half the underground facility, all in an effort to teach this bad boy a lesson. And then, within minutes of the assault, he recovered, seemingly unscathed. With his firepower, he was able to completely erase an entire cavern into the underground facility, while also toppling over surface structures, all in pursuit of Garou himself. Rover knows no restraint. That's become obvious after seeing him rampage. I dare say it'd take a few of these dragons teaming up to bring him down. The next two entries have been given the informal ranking of above dragon. This indication doesn't exist in the disaster catalog, as there are only 4 disaster levels, and one has yet to reveal what a god level threat is. Orochi, the Monster King, proved he could uplift an entire city in his final form with just one blast. He even managed to send Saitama flying with the impact of the blast. His fight would have been even more glorious if Saitama had used a martial style copy, as one of Orochi's defining feats is learning the water stream rock smashing fist from one literal encounter with Garou, and apparently he's just as proficient as Garou at it, according to Murata Sensei. Although this guy did receive the one-punch treatment, his durability is still regarded highly, stemming from his rank as the strongest in the association. I wouldn't mind yielding additional assumed feats to Orochi, but unfortunately, continued development wasn't in the cards for him. We often speculated that becoming a buffer point for Saitama and Garou was his role, and he's technically fulfilled his predicted purpose, but I can't help but want some more from Orochi. Our first place winner shouldn't be much of a surprise. He sent Saitama to the moon. Lifting a city and blasting into the upper atmosphere just don't compare. As previously mentioned, the only reason this fight didn't devastate the entire planet is because the Dark Matter Thieves ship is a goddamn champion. The destructiveness of Boros in contrast to Saitama was incredible, and still holds the standard for the best fight in One Punch Man. 3 different battle forms, along with a planet-busting attack, is indeed enough to make you the strongest above-dragon threat we've seen. In previous One Punch Man podcasts, we flirted with the idea of if Tatsumaki could defeat Orochi, and the opinions were all split, pretty evenly as well. By no means is that the case for Boros. There is no monster or hero aside from King or Saitama that is currently fighting Boros.